Yeah. There's one notion as we go into the conversation, but before we get deep into it, I want to ask this. There's a belief that there's no human being who is completely normal. I don't know, from medical perspective, how do you look at that? There's just this belief that no, at least everyone has some madness. I don't know your take on that one.
I think mental health is really a spectrum. There are people who are on the abnormal end, and then there is what we call optimal mental health, which I would say requires you to be thinking correctly, to be perceiving things correctly, to be interpreting correctly, to be analyzing things correctly, and making sound decisions from there. And then there are emotions involved. Are you able to identify what you're feeling in any given situation? And are you able to identify what has triggered those feelings? Are you able to express your emotions appropriately? There is a notion, some people think emotions are inconvenient, we have to do away with them. And especially for the males, they say, you're a man, you're not supposed to be crying, so just do away with emotions altogether. But that is not a healthy way. As long as you do not address emotions correctly, chances are that those emotions which are unresolved will find a way of manifesting themselves in unhealthy manners, which will manifest a deterioration of mental health. And then the last part, the thoughts and the feelings combined make up the character. And the character is observed through the behavior. So what is the behavior of the individual? If we look at the behavior, we are able to perceive something about the mental health. How do they behave in different circumstances? And behavioral patterns where you're only thinking about the here and now, you're not thinking about how what you're doing or what you're thinking or what you're feeling will affect you 2, 3, 5 years. Or if you're a Christian, realizing that every decision we make has eternal consequences. If you're just thinking of doing something in the here and now without recourse to how it will affect you long term, then all that would reflect poor mental health. So would I say that there is a person who is perfectly normal? I tend to agree that no, because depending on our thinking patterns, there are all errors somewhere, somehow. When you talk about our feelings, there are errors also in our feelings, and we talk about behavior. But we must be growing towards optimal mental health.
Optimal mental health.
That's what I would say. But I wouldn't say there is a person who has perfect mental health, unless they come to learn and to correct some of the distortions they have in their belief systems, in the way they think, in the way they interpret things. That is when they can move on to perfect mental health. But I wouldn't quite say that a person absolutely being there without exposure to knowledge. It's very tricky to.
It's tricky. Why should we have this conversation?